The darkness is about 6 miles long, and then you come out into, like I said, kind of a winter wonderland. We had our first fresh air break. There was all this snow. We're at this sort of ski resort up in the mountains, and of course, I'm in like a short sleeve shirt and shorts. No, maybe not shorts. Maybe I still had pants on at that point. I probably still had pants on at that point, but a short sleeve shirt. And I'm like, oh, I want to go out and see the snow. And of course, it's freezing. Like I said, I came. It's 60 degrees. My mind's still stuck on 60 degrees. We get off that train, it is freezing cold. That's why there's still snow, Jason, because it's freezing cold, right? But it was gorgeous. Hey, I'm Jason Sterling, and last time we left off right after breakfast and right as we were starting to enjoy some of the most beautiful views that the American West has to offer. And when you take Amtrak, that's what you're taking it for. You're taking it for the views. And the views are not just great through stunning vistas like the Rocky Mountains, but every trip gives you a unique perspective on the land that you're traveling through that you just don't get from the front or back seat of an American motor vehicle on an interstate speeding past the exact same big box store and roadside restaurant as every other city in the United States. And you certainly don't get those views 39,000 feet in the air in a jet airliner. Now, the views from a jet are good. Don't get me wrong. It's just a different type. But you don't get the intimate, up-close experience anyplace else but Amtrak. We're talking about rivers, farms, prairies, and even the random backyards of the random American family. When we took the trip to Chicago, I was surprised how often you were looking down into someone's backyard as they had, this was on the 4th of July actually, and they're having backyard barbecues and swimming and carrying on with their average lives. It's a unique perspective. It is a very intimate perspective that you don't see from the street because you're seeing it from backstage, from the backside, the private side of people's lives. Now, in our case, the views were stunning. This route, Denver to San Francisco on the California Zephyr, is renowned as the most beautiful route on Amtrak, and it did live up to the hype. Around every single bend, it was beautiful. There were stunning views. You can see in this picture here, I'm going to put this one here in particular. I hope you can tell, I hope you can see in this picture. That's downtown Denver, those little dark towers there because a storm has moved in. Those little that's how high up we were. And I think maybe only like an hour after boarding the train, you're just way up. Stunning vistas back out over the American Midwest. And speaking of Denver, when we boarded in Denver, it was about 60 degrees, 60 to 62 degrees, partly sunny, mostly sunny. When we walked to Amtrak to the station, Union Station, it was sunny. By the time we got up in the mountains, it was cloudy and it was snowing again. And this is almost June. This is Memorial Day. So essentially June. And I remember booking this thinking, oh, I hope we get a chance to see some snow left. I hope that there's a few patches of snow left on the ground. Well, we went right through snow and came out of the Moffat Tunnel. This is a picture of me. It's a selfie of me in the Moffat Tunnel. If you're wondering what it looks like just like that. It looks like pitch black. Pitch black, as in no stars in the sky, nothing, pitch black. And when you're going through that tunnel, they request that you remain in your particular car that you're in until they get through. It takes about 9 minutes to get through that tunnel. Because the tunnel itself, the diesel fumes build up, and if you open the doors between the cars, those fumes can get in. Now, it won't kill you. I don't think. I don't think it'll kill you. It won't kill you. But it just causes the car to smell, for the whole rest of the time that you're stuck in there. But it's only about 10 minutes, and it was super interesting because, as the conductor pointed out, when you're in that tunnel, basically, you're probably further underground than you'll ever be any other time in your life. And I can't remember how far down it is, about 3,000 feet down, right? 3,000 feet down. And at the same time, you're almost 10,000, you're like 9,000 feet up in the air, right? So you're 9,000 feet up in the air or above sea level, and yet you're further underground than you'll probably ever be any other time. The darkness is about 6 miles long, and then you come out into, like I said, kind of a winter wonderland. We had our first fresh air break. There was all this snow. We're at this sort of ski resort up in the mountains, and of course, I'm in like a short sleeve shirt and shorts. No, maybe not shorts. Maybe I still had pants on at that point. I probably still had pants on at that point, but a short sleeve shirt. And I'm like, oh, I want to go out and see the snow. And of course, it's freezing. Like I said, I came at 60 degrees. My mind's still stuck on 60 degrees. We get off that train. It is freezing cold. That's why there's still snow, Jason, because it's freezing cold, right? But it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. That was our first fresh air break, about a 10-minute stop. Keep in mind, 10 minutes is not as long as it seems. Don't go very far. Don't leave that train. It will leave you behind. I'm going to show a quick picture here. This is another stop we came to later on. Okay, see that market? Doesn't that look cute? Doesn't that look inviting? Doesn't that look like just the sort of thing you want to leave real quick because you've got 10 minutes. You're going to run in that market and grab yourself a T-shirt, right? Okay, guess what? We left people behind at this stop. My son, in fact, he and I were at the top of the steps where I took the picture of the market, but just at the top of those steps. The train's right down at the bottom of the steps. My son comes up there. He wants to play Pokemon Go. He's like, oh, I want to just walk right over here and grab a Pokemon, Dad. I'm like, no, don't. We have to stay right here. When that horn blows, and thank you, God, when that horn blows, and it blew right at that second, I said, hear that? So that means we have to get back on the train right now. And it does. It means you have to get back on that train right now. By the time we were at the bottom of the steps, and it was not a long flight of steps, okay, it's a few steps, the conductor is yelling, all aboard. That means they're closing the doors, and the train is rolling away, and roll away it did. And we left some people behind. Now, they warned you numerous times. It should not come as a surprise. Why was I worried? I'm telling my son, we have to be right here. You heard them. They said, do not leave. Do not leave. Stay here. When we leave, we leave. Oh my God, they warned people so many times. We still left someone behind because they were not there. And I don't know what you do. I guess you could find lodging and catch the train the next day. I mean, we're a pretty small town. There's no airport there. I don't know if Greyhound comes through there. And I don't know if there's a rental car place here. I don't know what you do. I really don't. Good luck. Good luck. Better yet, stay by the train. Stay by the train. We stayed by the train. We got back on. We were rolling on. But yeah, that was our first fresh air break, they call it. There with the snow, and it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. I can't recommend it enough. Now, after the snow, we went through absolutely gorgeous valleys. There's supposed to be a stretch called Moon River, I think, where people moon the train as it goes by. We didn't see any mooning. We missed it. I was watching. I was going to try to get a picture. I was going to try to get a few pictures, but I didn't see anything. Either I missed it somehow, or I don't know. Maybe they weren't there that day. Maybe they were tired. Maybe they slept in that day. I don't know. But there is that stretch called Moon River where people like moon the train. I don't know. You can see, though, through these shots that there are tons of views without a road. We were in the middle of nowhere, which is another reason why you take Amtrak. There's no roads there. Now, there were some people there fishing and stuff, but you can tell they hiked in, set up a tent. They're going to hike out to wherever their car is. This is a lot more isolated. These are the sort of views that are more difficult to get from an you can't hardly get them from an interstate highway. Let's just be honest with that. And I do drive places. I've done road trips. I've taken the interstates, but you're just not going to get those views. It was beautiful. Again, around every bend, it was beautiful. And I just couldn't get over it. I still can't get over it. Thinking back on it, I mean, I want to do it again today. I just can't get over it. It was so gorgeous. And I knew that already because even the trip, it's not renowned as the most gorgeous stretch. It's not. But the trip we took to Chicago was gorgeous. There was a point of time when we were running right along the Mississippi River for a long stretch. I've never driven along the Mississippi, driven over the Mississippi, right, on a bridge, 20 stories in the air, but I've never run right alongside it, and it is so massive, and it is so huge, and it's so intimidating to see that right outside your window. My son, who was younger at the time, he's looking out the window, and we're telling him, that's the Mississippi River, and I'll never forget, he says, well, that can't be a river. That's too big. Now, of course, we come from the Midwest and our rivers are basically streams running through a really large ditch, but still, it can't be a river. It's too big. That's how big it is. And that's part of the beauty of riding on Amtrak, the isolation. And sometimes we were isolated. Be prepared. If you're someone who absolutely cannot do without their phone and you're waiting for every single emergency to ring through, we were without cell service for several hours. I loved it. I loved it. There is nothing wrong with being without cell service for a few hours. It's a perfect excuse not to answer a text, not to answer a call, not to check your Facebook page. Perfect excuse just to sit and watch out the window, right? Just watch out the window, which is what we did a lot of the time. That was like a live television set to just sit and watch out the window and see what was going to come next, instead of watching your phone to see what was going to come next. And what came next was the topography and the climate kept changing just over time, this smooth flow until we were entering the high deserts of Utah, which, as I said, a lot of people think the beautiful stretch, and it is beautiful, is like Denver to the edge of Colorado, but you are not going to see such stunning vistas as you're going to see in the high deserts of Utah. We passed through Green River, Utah, which is very close to Arches National Park. Now, we did not go through Arches, needless to say, or there'd be a picture here of it. I've been to Arches with my son. It's really, really, really stunning. But don't think that somehow all of the formations are right there in that park. All of that area is covered with just gorgeous stretches of rock and this sort of barren, isolated beauty. There really is something to be said to the feeling of this sort of openness. This just stretches to the horizon forever. And that's the deserts of high deserts of Utah. So don't miss that part. I really loved it. We were coming into nighttime at that point. Eventually the sun did set, but kind of late because we're in June essentially at this point. Utah, the bad thing about it is we didn't get to really see Salt Lake City because we put into Salt Lake City at, I think, 11:30 or midnight or something. We were in bed. We were asleep. We were already asleep. But you put in pretty late into Salt Lake City. So we've been there before, though. So, I would have liked to have seen it again, maybe done some pictures from the train, but that we did miss that part. The next day, we woke up to Nevada. We were in Nevada. We went through Reno, Nevada. Now, again, we didn't see much of Reno. The train platform there is below grade. So we could get out. There was a fresh air stop for 10 minutes. But the train platform is below grade, so you really don't see much of the city. And I was not going to go up and get a few pictures simply because I didn't want to miss my train. Now, at least from Reno, I could get on to San Francisco pretty easy. They have an airport in Reno. But I didn't want to miss all the stuff in between Reno and San Francisco, which is the Sierra Madre. So beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous views out over these wide, broad valleys. Perfect California views. Could still see some snow-capped mountains every so often in the distance. We rolled through that into Sacramento. We could get off and get a few pictures of downtown Sacramento. And then from there on down to San Francisco. Now, we actually put into Emeryville, California, which is a bayside community adjacent to the Oakland Bay Bridge. But it was so gorgeous through parts of that coming into Emeryville. Great sweeps along the bay, watching the water, watching people out kind of doing like a paddle thing where they stand like on a kayak and paddle. Have you seen that? I've seen that before. I saw it in person this time from the train. So saw that, which was really cool. So saw some people fishing. Great, really great views. And then all of a sudden, the trees break, the buildings break, and you have this unbroken, fantastic vista of the shrouded skyline of San Francisco from the other side of the bay, and you're rolling into Emeryville. And that takes your breath away. The pictures don't do it justice. The pictures are beautiful. I do think that's a beautiful picture, but there is nothing to compare to actually just passing into that view and seeing your destination, the beautiful city by the bay, across the water. And across the water we did. We crossed the water in an Amtrak bus. Amtrak charters buses, so it's just other people from the train and yourselves. We took the bus over the Oakland Bay Bridge. directly from the train station. It was sitting there waiting for us as our train came in. Took it over the bridge, dropped us right off in downtown San Francisco at the Salesforce Plaza, Salesforce Transit Center there. Salesforce is like a complex of skyscrapers called Salesforce. Is Salesforce a company? I don't know. It's a corporation, maybe. I don't know. But dropped us off there, and we had arrived at our end destination. There were great views from that bridge as well, leading into downtown San Francisco. And as you can guess from this video, the views are what Amtrak is about. Now, what do you do on Amtrak? Are you bored? Well, I don't know what to say to that, except that I was prepared to be bored. I took books. I took card games. I took other little games. We had our cell phones with movies on there. I had like tons of movies, you know. I mean, we're going to be on that train for 33 hours. I better load up on the movies. I better load up on all this stuff. Most of it went to waste. Most of it we did not use. What we did is we stared out the window, and especially that first day, we really were glued to that live television set that was our window, watching the world go by. On the second day, to some extent, we did a little reading, stuff like that. But the big thing to do on Amtrak was the views. I was not bored. If anything, I needed more time. Now, I chose to go out of Denver with this trip because my son and I had never been to Denver. Originally, when I was looking at it, we were going to go out of Chicago, but we've been to Chicago, and so I thought, well, hey, let's go out of Denver because we haven't been to Denver before. I mean, technically we have. We've driven through Denver, but we've never stopped and done anything in Denver. But boy, oh boy, when we got into Emeryville, did I wish that we were running late. We were not running late. We were early, in fact. We were about 15 minutes early. Amtrak was early, you guys. I know it has a reputation for being late. And normally when I tell people if they're taking Amtrak, I say, you just prepare to be late. Just enjoy that extra time you got on that train. But our last 2 trips on Amtrak, we've been early. We actually have been early. But I wished we had been late this time. And I wish we'd gone from Chicago. Kinda. I mean, I love Denver, and I would not want to miss that part of that journey. I really wouldn't. We had such a great time in Denver. But I wish we had that extra night to just lay there and relax. The great thing about Amtrak is there is nothing to do. When I take a cruise ship, I feel like, oh my God, look at all these things to do. I need to go ride this slide. I need to play some miniature golf. I need to get a movie. I need to grab da-da-da-da-da-da. On Amtrak, there is none of that pressure. You are relieved from the pressure of trying to decide what to do, because what you do is just relax. You just relax and lay around your room. Maybe you read a little bit. Maybe you stare out the window. Maybe you have a snack, and then you go have lunch. Then you're going to lay around some more. That is what you do. Do you need a nap? Take a nap. Take a nap and wake up to the most beautiful, surprising view that you're probably ever going to see after waking up from a nap. So as you can see on Amtrak, what you get is the luxury of free time, the free time to do nothing. Nothing but enjoy a long dinner and talk to your table mates, or to read a book. As you can see here, I'm researching my next adventure. It's never too early to research your next adventure. We're going to Disney World, of course, in August, to the Star Wars land, Galaxy's Edge, and I was doing a little research there. I can't wait for that trip. And I can't wait for our next video, which will be a room tour and talking about how to book Amtrak and how I booked this trip. Hit like, subscribe, and notify so that you can join us next time for that video. And for all the videos coming after that, all the adventures to come after that. And in the meantime, thank you for watching.